prepare to actually go like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
5,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Woohoo! Hello.
Woo! And we're live! We're live!
Woo, woo, woo. Ba-doop-a-doop-a-doo-doo-doo.
Woo! Oh, I don't have my layout on. Wait, let me put the layout on. Branding.
So this whole live online.
Apply.
Live. Gosh, the reflection on my pretty bad. Oh, look at that.
Ooh. Look,
Look.
they match your glasses. The purple matches your glasses. How cool is that?
I'll do my best,
Yeah, I didn't wear any green to match.
Oh, shame.
Oh,
Never
but
mind.
this is not the same color green. But I don't think you've seen this yet, Sarah.
Ooh.
I have branded hot water bodies.
Oh, I love it. Fantastic.
In case I get really cold in the winter time.
Okay.
Alrighty. So I'm going to do a clap. Hey, Cyndilu here with Be Bold You podcast. So excited today to actually have a guest interviewer who's going to be interviewing me. I have a new book coming out. I have a workbook that I'm working on like right now. It'll be being published this week, put on to be published. And yeah, my editor, who might happen to be Sarah Louise, doesn't quite yet know that, oh, there's the book. Okay, so Becoming Bold You, she held that book up. That is last year's book, and that is fully and completely published. You can get that book now by going to www.beboldyu.com/BBY book. And you'll get some bonuses there and all that fun stuff. Now, if you want to get on the wait list, all you have to do is put BBY capital W ORKBOOK. So workbook, right? So instead of BBY book, you're just going to put BBY, capitalize the W, workbook. Everything else same before that, www.beboldyu.com. Okay, so my name is Cyndilu, in case you've never met me before. What are we talking about today? We're talking about my own process of becoming Bold You and how I got here and why I do this and what I do and how my brain works. All of that, and who knows what else Sarah will ask me and where this will go. I realized when my guest couldn't come today, I was like, how can I do this and what can I do? And I literally called a friend and said, hey, you want to go live? And she said yes. Little did she know she was going to be the interviewer. So, Sarah, before we get into that,
Yes.
could you just introduce yourself a little bit more after I say, I'm Cyndilu, I'm the founder and creator of Be Bold You, and I help you to figure out who you are, who you were, who you want to become, and how you want to show up in the world is who you want to become. So how do you want to show up? Who do you want to be? So Sarah, who are you and who do you want to become?
That's a really good question. And when people say, well, who are you? I kind of stumble on that question, actually, because I never really know which part of the puzzle people need to know. Do they want to know the editor part of the puzzle? Do they want to know the truck driver part of the puzzle? Do they want to know the mother part of the puzzle? Do they want to know the grandma part of the puzzle? Do they want to know the editor part of the puzzle? They want to know, you know what I mean? So it's really, do they want to know the singer part of the puzzle? Do they want to know the speaker part of the puzzle? It's like, now I understand why in the Bible God goes, I am. I get it.
I am. Because he can do everything, right? I mean, part of this whole piece is that we can do so much. I know your talents and I know my talents, some of them, and some of them I've yet to recognize. It's true.
Yeah.
We don't see our own power. We don't see our own whatever. We don't see it often, right?
Yeah.
So I know you are a multi-talented woman, and part of the Be Bold You thing is about the fact that we are not the same everywhere, and we don't have to be. And I used to think that I had to try to be the same everywhere I went.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean, if you're standing on the sideline of your kid's soccer game, how can you be the artist right there? And if you're on a stage, how can you be the soccer mum right there?
And and if you have children that are completely different, you might have to be a different soccer mom.
Well, for some of them, they want you just to turn up and not say anything. For
Exactly.
you know, for my children used to feel awkward that I was quite loud on the sideline because I have a great way of projecting my voice. So I'd have to learn how to be quiet for them. Yeah, I know, really difficult for me, right? Um,
You
but,
have to
but
take on different aspects of other personalities that are not necessarily the ones that are innate to you, but that doesn't mean we can't.
that question, when you say take on a different personality, do you mean that we kind of have this other personality running around in our head? Or do we engage with a different part of ourselves? How does that actually work out in your head? Because I know you've got it straight in your head. I struggle with that sometimes. So I'm asking a question because I'm supposed to be interviewing you.
You're doing a great job. Yeah. So we have within us, God has created all of us with everything that we need. We're created in His image and His likeness. If He can do everything, then really so can we, right? But we haven't yet understood the fullness of that power. That's another conversation for another day. Getting back to the aspect of the personalities within us, which is a part of what God's put in us, is that we are a part of all of them. And sometimes we act more. So it's our actions, it's our reactions, it's our responses. We act more in alignment with one of the four basic types that there are that kind of overview. So, see, four basic types. Okay, what have I used before, Sarah? What do I want to use now? Um,
Well,
so
you've
there's
used,
fruit. I'm going to use fruit because I'm a little
ooh,
fruity today. So fruit is an overall thing. So people is an overall thing. Okay.
okay, yeah,
There are different kinds of fruit.
orange,
There
apples,
are, yeah, well, you can do orange, apples, whatever, but you can also go the next level up, which is fruit that comes on trees, fruit that grows on vines, right? So it's like even the next level up, like where the fruit comes from.
oh, or it could be stone fruit.
Yeah, stone fruit. So you have all the different kinds of stone fruit. Exactly. All the different kinds of apples. So if you're got, oh, so let's go stone fruit,
Okay,
apples,
yep.
citrus.
Ooh,
What's the fourth one? What's the fourth one?
grapes, they're on vines.
Vines. Okay, so you get the vine fruits, which is grapes and is kiwi a vine fruit?
Yes, it
It is,
is.
isn't it? Yeah. So kiwis, grapes, probably anything with like little seeds inside of it, right? So then you have the stone fruit, but you could have peaches or apricots or nectarines.
Yep.
There's probably more. Apples, you've got so many kinds of apples. Let's go with Granny Smith green ones. Let's go with some red ones. Some
Ambrosia,
uh, what is it?
ambrosia,
Ambrosia. Okay,
mhm,
ambrosia.
jazz,
Jazz.
and peas
So
good non
and what?
peas good non such. It's a heritage variety. It's beautiful.
I've never heard of that one. Oh my
Huge.
goodness! I bet that would be fabulous for making pies.
It is brilliant. It's very
Yeah.
similar to a Granny Smith, but it's got a different kind of outside, and it has a slightly different texture to the. And it's got a different flavour to the Granny Smith.
Okay, so people have kind of a different outside, a different texture, a different flavor. So sometimes you might want to be a Granny Smith apple, a little bit sour and a little bit lovely. And other times you might want to be like a Macintosh, which is crisp and refreshing.
A
So you just
Macintosh?
Macintosh
I've
apples.
never I've never heard. That sounds like Ambrosia's. Ambrosia apples are my
I think they're
favorite.
actually probably similar. I will have to try an ambrosia and tell you, but they're probably similar. So
Nice, crisp and sweet and just perfect. Not
beautiful.
floury, not too small, not too big.
Absolutely.
It's kind of
But even
thick.
within that, on an ambrosia tree, let's go the next level down. On an ambrosia tree, you're going to have all these different sized fruits. None of them are going to be exactly the same.
Mhm.
And no two
True.
people in within the same families are the same. So sometimes we need to take on an aspect of another family or another thing. So think of
Oh,
it as when they graft apples, right? To make different new varieties. They graft them together and they make a new variety.
so sometimes you need to be a little tart. In other words, you need to be a little direct to get the
Mhm.
message through. And sometimes you need to be a little bit of honey for the flies to come to you so that you can get rid of them, huh?
Yes. For those listening on the podcast, you didn't see what I did. I was like, yes, smack. Goodbye, flies. I don't
Goodbye.
like flies. They're not fun when I'm trying to go live. So yeah. Yeah. And then there's the whole vocation thing. Wait, you're supposed to be asking me questions. I'll wait.
Oh, well, tell us more about the vocation thing.
Okay, so in the Bible, this gets into like the next book that I'm writing that I've begun ideating, but not written much of it yet. But I am writing this. I mean, not but, and I am in ideation of it. So let me go into the ideation a little bit of this. In the Bible, the tribes were around four sides of the temple. Four personalities, four sides of the temple. Face of God has four. Sounds like maybe God has a purpose in the four personalities being here. But when they went out to march into war, they went into a different format and they took on other aspects of being. So in the temple, Judah is known as the praisers and the worshipers. And in the Bebolju system, they're part of the lightning because they love to praise and they love to worship and be together and be one, right? And be a team. However, when they go out to war, they are still praising, but they are also equipped for war. And they are warrioring and they're going first and they're like taking it on. And there's no fear in them. They're just like, which is normally thought of being as the brazen. So everybody takes on kind of a different aspect based on what their vocation is or what they're doing in the moment. You don't want to go to work and talk to your boss like you do your baby when you're the mom at home changing the baby. Wouldn't work very well.
Ah, now I see how this works. So it's not so much about having a split personality, with the greatest respect to those who have
Multiples.
multiples. And that's what always used to grind my gears a bit, was I didn't understand how that worked, how you had the different personalities, because I was like, hang on a minute, are you talking about we need to be different people? Are you talking you have to have little people running around in our heads? But with what you just said there, with being a mum at home changing the nappies or wiping noses or changing beds, it's quite different to the relationship that you have with your boss at
It's
work.
relationship based.
It's quite different to the relationship that you have with your girlfriends when you go out for a coffee. It's quite different to the relationship that you have when you're with your parents, when you're with your in-laws. So all of that is not about personality so much as a different aspect of who you are. Is that,
Yes.
am I hearing you on that?
Yes, you are. It's about how we interact with relationships
Huh.
and our
Now,
personalities. Because, and we have to take into account the person we're relating to, right? If we don't take into account the person we're actually relating to and shift our behaviors and our personality, which is our behaviors and kind of the way we be and act and whatever, if we don't shift it, then that person's going to be confused.
huh. You really do like taking things apart and looking at them and see how they work, don't you?
I look at things sideways, backwards, inside out. Yeah, I am so much more of a philosopher than I ever knew, Sarah. Like, I never knew how much of a philosopher I was, but I am.
So this esoteric dissertation that you've got going, now we need to help it make sense to everybody, right? So
Yeah.
you've got the tabernacle, and around the tabernacle you've got the 4 tribes, and they each have like the north, south, east,
12,
and west.
12
12,
tribes, 3 on each side.
yeah, and there's 3 on each side. And does that relate? I'm reading in Exodus at the moment how on the breastplate of Aaron there were 3, 3, 3, and 3. Do those personalities relate to the positioning of them on the breastplate?
I think so. Yes.
You think that the order necessarily means that one is inferior to the other?
No. No. So here's the thing. When you have somebody who has the experience of living a life and going through things, they become a mentor. So they actually might be back in the line because when they go out to war and when they move from place to place, those folks were, I think it's Simeon, the tribe of Simeon, and they would actually fall back in the line to be training the younger ones. So it's a matter of how do we work together? How does God put us together in such a way as humans so that we have the opportunity to work together, to complement one another, to uh, support each other, and to actually, in some places, complete one another because the person who is sporadic and all over the place needs in their life somebody who's orderly and knows exactly what to do next. Those two people come together and work together.
I can see how that would be hugely beneficial, not only to yourself, but also to your community at large.
Yes. So that's some of the background stuff. And
so
I got some of that stuff downloaded to me like 5 years ago and didn't understand it and was confused by it. And I was trying to make it all fit. And I'm no longer worried about making it all fit. I'm now seeing that it's a constantly moving, changing, evolving thing, just like us humans are. And our lives are constantly changing and moving and shifting into that's where the becoming happens, where we don't have to stay the same as we were yesterday. We don't have to stay tomorrow the same as we are today. We, however, get to embrace fully who we are today and start owning it a bit more. That's the bold part. Like, own it.
So what does that look like walking out from here?
Tell me more about what it is you're looking for in that question, because I'm not sure I understand.
When you're saying walking out boldly being you.
Oh, yep. I would say that is assessing where you are, what has affected you from the past, what is controlling kind of your thought patterns that's actually from the past and isn't even true anymore for the future or for the current time. And then choosing, how do I want tomorrow to look, or how do I want the next 5 seconds to look, or how do I want to be in 5 years? And if you can see yourself how you want to be in 5 years, you can start appropriating that now. That's probably another whole thing.
Hmm. So this is not something that you can do on your own necessarily, hence the workbook, so that you're working through it with people. How do people connect with you and say, okay, look, I get it, I'm a mess, I need to work my way through this, but I don't even know where to start?
Look, I'm a mess. Nobody's a mess. Well, I suppose you could feel that way, but you're unfinished piece of clay. I don't like to call people messes, but my life was a mess. So maybe, yeah, maybe we are. So there is the Be Bold You page, or the Cyndilu page, which some of you may be watching this on. There is the Create Bold Impact page, and we connect weekly on that page. And we have a group on there called Create Bold Impact. And I'm sensing to use that as the main place where people connect, unless they're in the courses and reading the books and all of that, in which case I'll shift you over to the Be Bold You, Becoming Bold You membership. It's a Be Bold You membership, but that's a paid membership. So I think if people just simply want to connect to start, go to Facebook and then go to look at the groups and go to Create Bold Impact, answer the questions, and we will connect.
So tell me more about the membership. Why is it important to become a member? What benefits do you get through being a member?
You get coaching from me. I don't know. Is that a benefit? Tell me, Sarah, is that a benefit?
I would say so. Absolutely. Yeah. What about the community?
The community is there. Yeah. There is a community, and they're all other people who are going through what you're going through. They're people who are shifting their lives. They're people who are taking their life to another level. Here's the thing. In the book, in the workbook, you're going to be working through some exercises, some assessments. And it's great to get an assessment done, but you'll read that assessment and then you're kind of like going, okay, now what do I do with it? Well, in the membership, I tell you what to do with it. I help you unpack it. We talk about it a bit more. If you have questions, you can ask questions. You'll be able to connect in a way that's deeper and more personalized to you, and we can build a relationship from there.
But I'm a mum. I don't want, I'm not interested in corporate America. I'm not interested in corporate New Zealand. Why would I want to do this?
I don't know. Can you answer that question for me? What are you looking for, Sarah?
Well, why would you want to be part of, why would you want to invest in yourself? Why is it important to invest in yourself? Why is it, you hear about, you've got to do this and you've got to do that and you've got to do the other. Like, why? Isn't this just one more thing to invest in?
Yeah. But let me tell you, when you invest in yourself, no one can take it away. You get to choose how much you spend, how much energy, how much time, how much whatever you spend. You get to choose the upper limit of your growth, of your experience, of everything that you are taking in for yourself. You are in control. And it is the one investment that literally cannot be taken from you. Because if you invest financially, that money can disappear, right? If you invest in yourself educationally, that education that you get, and that's what really personal development is, it's a self-education. That education that you get is yours to hold on to forever. You don't lose that. It's an investment in yourself. It's the best investment you can ever make.
Okay. When you figured out how you're wired, can it help you understand how other people are wired?
Whoo, yep.
And
And
in doing that, does it help you overcome difficulties that you might have had with different personality types?
sometimes, and I say sometimes because we have to be willing to let go of our expectations of how somebody else is supposed to be. And if we don't let go of that, then it won't matter how much you know that they do something a certain way. If you're expecting them to be different, you're still going to get frustrated and irritated. However, if you're willing to realize that they think differently, they process things differently, they go through life differently, and you start giving them a little bit of grace and start learning how their brain works and how their processing works so that you can then do what I said earlier in the show, which is appropriate it and shift into it and move forward into that aspect of them so that you're communicating with them in a style that they understand. Then they're going to receive the communication better. They're going to understand what you're trying to say to them and what you've maybe been trying to say to them for 20 years, but you've been saying it in your language instead of theirs. Think about it like the love languages, right? Somebody who is a love language of gifts will often give gifts to other people. But if you don't catch on that that's their love language and you're giving them words of affirmation or acts of service, unless they feel like that act of service is a gift, they're not going to feel loved because you're not speaking their language. And they keep giving you gifts, and you're kind of like, maybe.
What questions would you like to be asked that aren't or haven't been asked?
What questions would I like to be asked that aren't or haven't been asked? Have you seen
Yep.
my form for people when they come on the show?
No.
That's on there. That's the last question. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that I should ask? So I think
Yeah.
you've been looking at the show. I think you should ask me my 10 questions.
Okay, so what are your 10 questions?
So I was going to say, how do I feed them to you? Well, let me see. Let me see if we can do this. Text on screen. I'm going to feed them to her. Okay, so let me get that off of there. Can you hear me typing? Oh no.
Nope. Nope.
Okay, first question number 1, and I'm going to go grab the rest of them.
Okay, so what is your favorite color?
So my favorite color is rainbow.
That's not a color.
I know. It's all the colors.
Do you wear them all at the same time?
I do sometimes. I have on about, I don't know, 6 or 8 different colors and patterns today. It's a little bit funky and wonky. And yes, I have been known to do such a thing as that. I have indeed. So my favorite color actually is probably this purple and green that you see around here. It wasn't before, but it is now. Yeah. Okay, so now let's see. Here we go.
Ooh, do you consider yourself more introverted or extroverted?
I am both. I am about 50-50. I'm probably just a little bit more extroverted than introverted. However, I used to think that I was totally extroverted and I would spend a lot of time with people and I would find by the end of the day that I was like, "Da, da, 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 da." And my girlfriend was like, "You need to go home and go to bed. You need to go home and just sit quietly." Like she could tell when I was overtired, overexposed to people and needed a break. And I have since learned that I do best if I have some time with people and some time without. Like
Okay.
I need both to be re-energized. If I only have one or the other, it's not good. So,
What energies you?
I don't have that spelled right. Energizes.
What energizes? What
Oh, no,
energizes?
no. No, no, I'm gonna fix that. You're gonna love it too. You're gonna say it's still wrong.
Okay, I recognize that you're an American citizen living in New Zealand, and I, your gracious editor, will not comment.
What energizes me? Making people laugh like that. Is that better? So I've just changed it for those viewing. I had a Z there, which would be a Z in America, but I really have become more Kiwi than American, and I do I spell all of my zzz's, energizes. What is another one? Relaxation, um, with a S instead of a Z, so it can confuse some people. Anyway, what energizes me? Actually, making people laugh and singing. Those definitely would energize me.
Oh, that's a good question. What's the most exotic place you have visited?
Most exotic place I have visited is probably Awaka. No.
Well, you do got some strange bird life over there.
You do what? Say that again.
you, you do got some strange bird life over there.
We do have strange bird life here. It's true. It's probably actually, I went to San Juan, so Puerto Rico, and that was lovely. I also went to Peru, and I guess that would be exotic, but in an interesting way. I went to Trujillo, and outside of Trujillo, just outside of Trujillo, there was a little village, and I don't remember the name of it. I'm very sorry. But there was a dump there, and we went and held church service worship at the dump. So that is the
Wow.
most exotic thing I've ever experienced in my life is being in a place where people are literally digging for yeah, their livelihood, and we're there to bring the spirit of God and worship, and I have some amazing photos from that trip. So where is that is asked by Shirley Jacobs as we're recording this live, and I'm going to respond to that, and I'm also going to say hi to Velsa because and hi Catherine. I don't usually respond too much during the live recordings of this for the podcast, but hey, we're not having a normal podcast today, as you can tell, those listening to it. So where is Owaka? Owaka, New Zealand is actually where I live now. Oh, where's the dump? The dump is in Peru. Was in Peru. Did I answer both of those questions? Wow. Yeah, I've definitely.
You
What
said
was that?
Owaka is in New Zealand, but you
Yeah.
didn't people know that it's the Catlins in South Otago, which is
Yeah.
pretty extraordinary, actually. There's even a petrified forest down there.
There is a petrified forest. There's so much here. It's amazing.
Mm.
It's a great place to live. I'm so blessed.
Ooh, what phrase or quote encourages you the most?
I don't know why I ask this of people now that I'm being asked it myself. Encourages me the most. I would say be strong, be bold.
Be bold, you?
Yeah. No, be strong, be bold, for the Lord your God is with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely. Because I know we need God with us every day. I need him. I don't know about anybody else. So, all right. There's the next question, Miss Sarah.
What's been your favorite age? Now, here's a question that goes with that.
Okay.
When you're asking what's been your favorite age, are you talking in terms of what has been your favorite age of your life, or what has been your favorite age in terms of history?
That's really funny because I was going to answer it in terms of history. I'm like, oh, I think I like the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Right? So, Yeah, as far as the age, I think I really loved 55, my year. And so I'm asking this however people want to answer it, really. And so for me, it probably was 55. Um, I just, I love the number five, and I'm 58 now, so 58 is not so bad because I like the number eight too. It's all about the numbers and what I like about numbers. It has nothing to do with what's happening in my life. Isn't that funny?
Interesting.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Age of Aquarius. Okay, sorry.
What book are you reading now?
I am reading two books right now. One of them is the book that is sponsoring this show, the Be Bold You, the Be Bold You book. Let me see if I can get this up. Hold on. Let me hide this and let me go here and go here. She's going to hold that up, and I'm going to put this up because I think it's going to actually put the link right there into the comments. I'm going to try this because I've not tried this. What do you think? Oh, wait, I got to hide us. Solo that solo. Look at
Ooh,
that. Oh my gosh. What do you think of that? Becoming Bold Jew. Have you gotten your book? What's that?
look at that.
I know. And it puts it right in the comments so people can just click on there and go on over and sign up to get a copy of that. You'll also get some emails from me and some free stuff. Yay. So if you want to go on the journey of becoming Bold Jew, here is a guide to the Be Bold Jew personality expression system. And it's really an introduction to it, as much as a guide. It's an introduction and a guide. And then we're going to have the workbook coming out soon, and I don't have my pretty little thing for that. It'll be on the next week's podcast. So let me now take that, hide that. Okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this. Yay.
You are.
I am. And it's so fun to learn something new. So that is one of the books that I'm reading now. I'm reading it out loud to record it. It's been an interesting journey. The other book that I am reading right now is The Compound Effect. Woo, woo, woo.
Hi,
And I'm
Darren.
on.
You covered up his name.
Oh, sorry, Darren. I didn't mean to do that. When you come on the show, I promise I won't cover up your name. When you come, Darren Hardy, when you come on the Be Bold You show and I interview you about the compound effect, which I would really, really, really love to do. And if somebody knows Darren Hardy, please forward him this little section of the video here and tell him I want to interview him. He's amazing. I mean, so amazing. Okay, I brought very little with me from the USA. Very little, right? 200 square feet or something, or meters or whatever it is. One little box. But I have to show you. I have, oh wait, I'm attached. Okay. Sorry, podcast listeners, for that little break. I have brought with me about 10 or 12 of these success magazines, like Successville.
Ooh.
This is Darren Hardy's thing. Yeah, you should definitely borrow some of these. And this is one of the best magazines. Speaking of Darren Hardy, I really do like him. He just really, yeah, jazz. And you get these little video audios in here that you can listen to. He like puts those in the middle of the book. The magazine is just crazy amazing, for anybody who is into personal development and an entrepreneur. You'd really love the book. Anyway, so I brought those with me because he so impacted my life when I was starting as on the personal development journey. So yeah, anyway.
Okay. So, how are we going for time?
We're going fine for time as far as the podcast. We probably have I gotta bring the next question up.
Yes,
Gosh.
you do.
I don't know, how are you going for time? Because we can make it a shorter show if we need to. Text on screen. For those who want to, you can come on over if you're listening to the podcast and you want to like see this jovial, fun thing, visually. You can head over to Facebook or YouTube and catch it there. Whoop, whoop.
Do you create to live or live to create?
I do both. So I don't even know how to answer this question. It's really funny because I was talking to somebody the other day and she said she did both. And I think I agree. I live to create because I love creating. And when I create, I feel alive. So I create to live. So again, why do I ask people this question? Just because it makes them think, I think. I think that's why I asked that question. It's kind of interesting to be doing this from the other side.
I have a question for you that's probably
Yes.
not number one. Are you going to revamp your questions now that you've been on the receiving end of your questions?
I don't know. My daughter's calling me. Should I answer it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
Well,
going to put you on solo for a minute. Ha, say hi to the folks. Talk.
well, this is highly unexpected. Then again, this is Cyndilu, so it could be a case of this is not only living boldly, but also learning online. Oh my goodness, my brain has gone into a cramp. So, do you create to live or live to create? I find that when I'm creative, I'm definitely alive. And I think creating takes many different forms. Sometimes it's creating the food, sometimes it's creating the garden space, sometimes it's creating the space to simply be, sometimes it's creating something on a computer. So there's lots of ways that we can be creative, and that's just part and parcel of living.
And sometimes it's remembering to put on Do Not Disturb. Oh, that was funny. That was funny.
Question
Okay.
number 9. Name the person who has had the most influence on your life, whether dead or alive. I would definitely have to say for you, it would be Darren Hardy.
No,
He's kind of had quite a significant influence on your life.
he has, but not nearly as much as the person who has had the most significance on my life.
Which is?
My dad.
What?
My dad, and he is not alive, but he has had the most significance. Okay, I have to just close that one. He has had the most significance. Yeah. He, wow. He was one of those people who started out not being the best dad. He was loud and obnoxious and a bit abusive to mostly my siblings, me a little bit. But when I was 14, he lost his job and he was all of a sudden home all the time. And it was kind of like, who is this man? But in losing his job, he lost the stress that he was living under, that he had been living under for years as a traveling salesperson. And I don't think he knew he had the stress. And we had a whole new person. And my brothers and I got to know him. And we fell in love with our dad. So when he exited the planet, we were able to send him off with such love, with all total forgiveness for everything that he had done when we were younger, and really had great relationships, just it was amazing. And one of the things that he always would say to me is probably the most influence of my life: be anything, but do not be ordinary.
Wow.
And I'm about as far from ordinary as ordinary can get. So
yeah, kind of. I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah. Well, what was it the other day when we were on Create Bold Impact? What was it that Celine said? We were talking about taking the lid off it. I think I posted it on my Facebook page. Taking the lid off of it, and she said, "I've known you for years, honey. You have no lid." There's no such thing. So the last question. I love that I'm just feeding you these questions. This is too funny. I'm telling you, if you're not on here watching, you're missing some of this fun stuff. I want you to ask this question and answer it for me. What one word describes me best? I'm asking you. What one word describes me best? You Tell me what one word describes me best.
Love.
Aw, that is so cool.
Yep, without a shadow of a doubt.
Tell me more about that.
Well, the fun is in there, and the crazy is in there, and the boundaries are in there, and the discipline and the structure and the discipling, they're all in there. The teaching is in there. The foundational work is in there. The prayer is in there. The pointing back to God at every opportunity. All of that is encompassed in the word love. You give great hugs. It's always a joy to be around you, even when I'm getting my butt kicked or handed to me on a plate.
I don't know what you mean by that. I don't hand people their butts on plates, do I?
Sometimes you are like the Granny Smith and you are extremely direct, and it is necessary, and it brings me up short, which is necessary. And again, that's part of love. You know, you do that very, very well. You're faithful. You're a woman of honor and integrity. You're a woman of wisdom. You're a woman of empathy. You don't rescue people. You allow them to be in their messiness, and you accept us completely in the messiness. And then sit there, maybe at the bottom of the totem pole from which we've slid, and sit there with us in the dust and hand us some tissues and go, you know what? Yeah, no, that you're right. It wasn't your finest moment. Now, what are you going to do about it? And then you're there championing us as we get back up again and go out to have another crack at it. I think the one word that encompasses you is love.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Lots of words to describe you.
There's lots of other words that she could use to describe me for sure. So I'm going to flip it a little bit here, and I'm going to interview you for just a moment.
Oh, gosh.
But it's going to be in relationship to the Becoming Bold You and the first time you read the book, and kind of what were your thoughts and feelings, and how has being a part of the journey of Be Bold You, Becoming Bold You, getting out to the world been for you?
That is a huge question.
It's what I do well.
The fact that you wanted me to be part of this journey with you blew my mind. The privilege of walking alongside you and helping you unpack your brain and unpack what it was, unpack your vision for the book and for the process, and even being behind, one of my favorite places, being behind the scenes, not in front of the camera. Listening and hearing and not understanding, but just allowing you to process out loud, to get out this vision that was obviously burning within you, to bring into birth into what it is now. And to still be struggling with it is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The whole process toward understanding who I am and the way that I'm wired and how other people are wired and how you see it differently has been quite an eye-opener. It has been an enormous privilege, an incredible honor to serve you in taking the thoughts that come out not quite the way that you mean them, but being able to catch what you mean and then wrap it up a different way and then hand it back to you and say, how's this? And you kind of, yeah, maybe not quite. And I say, okay, so is it this? And then to have you go, oh, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say. And, to have that privilege of that journey with you, that has been phenomenal.
Thank you. And I want to publicly say thank you for all of the work that you did editing the book and helping me unpack my brain and figure out which way was up as the Be Bold Jew journey has evolved and come about. It has been an amazing year and a half about that I've been doing. No, is it 2 years? No, about a year and a half, because I think we've been, yeah, from the time that I actually started writing the book. I mean, it was 5 years before I got the download and the graphic, 5 years before I actually wrote the book. And I
Yeah.
sat with it and I pondered it and I unpacked it and I sorted it out and I, looked at it again and I edited and I changed it up and went from um, from B, which was bold and brave, to becoming the brazen, and really tying it into the kingdom of God and tying it into that God really has a purpose and a plan for us with personalities, and that we can embrace not only um, the personality that we are, but the fact that God made us as individuals and that we are more than a personality outlook or framework, I guess you'd call it. We're more than that. We are the
Mhm.
experiences of our life. We are the education of our life. We are the skills that we have honed in our life. We are communicators and we all communicate differently. That's a different aspect of us. We are unction people. We move. So we all move differently. Different things move us. Different things inspire us to start moving. Different things put us into action. Other things to, take us out of. So that's a part of it. Our values are different from person to person. Our there's a couple more. But so there's more. There's just so much more that we are not. The intercommunication, the way that we relate to one another, the way that we deal with conflict and stress, and the way that we provide, the way that we go about making sure that our families are provided for, like all of that is different. And all of that comes in and makes each of us completely and uniquely a single individual. Nobody else is like you on the planet. And I used to hear that and think that's crazy because I get that we're a unique being as far as humanly, like there's no DNA that's exactly the same as yours. We're similar. We can tell what strain you're from, whatever string, but there's no two people that are exactly the same. Fingerprints and all of that. And I was like, well, how does that work with the soul part of us, right? The mind part of us, our emotions, our being, the way we process, the way we think. And that's kind of where it all came out of, was wanting to unpack that and wanting to see where does God fit in this and how has he created us as humans to be. And the biggest piece is how do we come together? And I am all about relationship, like everything that I do, whether I'm doing strategic ideation, any of that doesn't matter. It's still about what is the relationship. And you helped me to see that earlier in the show today, Sarah, that that the changing the aspect of what we're showing, what we're behaving as, what we're doing, and taking on maybe what is perceived to be another person's personality or another type of a personality than what we normally would be seen as. That's by we're normally seen as that by that person, but doesn't mean that we don't have that other aspect in us, that we can't take it on and become that and walk into that. So that's the becoming. So I hope
Right.
that little kind of recap from today of everything that we've talked about, I think I recapped it pretty well,
You did.
is going to help people to kind of understand what becoming bold you and be bold you personality expression systems kind of all about. And if that's something they want to explore more, I would love to connect with them more. I can be found on Facebook at Be Bold You. So if you go to facebook.com/Be Bold You, you're going to find the Cyndilu page. So Cyndilu and Be Bold You are synonymous. We are the same person, Be Bold You and Cyndilu. So there you go. Even in that, I can't, be one person. Show up differently. But if you look up Be Bold You right now, all together, one word on your on your browser, your search thing, you're sure to find me. I will show up, whether it's Pinterest, whether it's whatever. I show up. I have become synonymous with the term Be Bold You, which is all together one word. Cyndilu, all together one word. I guess I'm an altogether one word lady. Thank you, Sarah, for joining me today, for jumping in and being a last minute guest interviewer. I really, really appreciate you. I adore you. And I'm going to have you back sometime when you're ready to launch your business online, because she's getting one ready, folks, in the background, and it is going to be amazing. And when you're ready to launch, we're going to have you back, and I'm going to interview you about what you're doing and your why and who you want to reach. Would you come back for that?
Thank you for the invitation. I'll think about that.
Yeah, think about that. She says, It can be whenever, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whenever.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Thank you for the privilege.
When you're ready.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Alrighty. So to everybody who's watching live, thank you so much for watching us live. For those who are listening to the podcast, as always, remember to live your life out loud and be bold you.